give up, and that ain't the show tonight. We gonna get into this love lounge conversation, but I have to give this brother a proper introduction. He is no stranger to the Dr. Don Radio Show. He's been on here before. He'll be back again. We just love him, love him. Such a good spirit he has, and he's lots and lots of fun too. Can I just say that he's lots of fun? Let me give this brother a proper introduction. Hey, he is author, speaker, media personality, and relationship coach, or I can call him guru. He has credentials to back it up in the experience, darling. Welcome back to the Dr. Don Radio Show, Elam B. King. How are you, brother?
What's going on? How are you?
Good. How's it going?
Did I hear some shouts in the background? I thought I heard.
Yes, I give applause.
Okay.
I give applause, darling, honey. Look.
I love it.
I give applause. So we don't bring you into the hello, Chelsea McCoy. She says, yes, he is a whole riot. Hell, hey, Elam B. King. Chelsea is dope. I know Chelsea.
What's up, Chelsea?
Yes, but we are going to start this love lounge conversation, brothers and sisters. And the crowd does go wild, Sister McCoy. Elam loves it.
Hush.
Yeah. See, we don't do.
I embarrass easily, so let's just move on.
Oh, really? Okay. So look, Elam B. King is here with us. Hey, Chelsea, we love your girl. But brothers and sisters, I am so excited. Thank you to everyone who is listening online at raisethepraise100.com. Thank you to those who are listening through the app. And then thank you to those who are watching Facebook. Of course, I'll be uploading this to my YouTube channel and podcast platforms this weekend, early next week. So don't worry, you can catch it. So if you do have a question or a comment, please put it in the chat or call in with your comment, 346-355-0100. Elam, we are talking about self-care. This is Self-Care Awareness Month and how self-care can help relationships. But before we get into this, so people know you're legit and we didn't counterfeit you and make you up, give us a little intro about your experience, expertise, and brother, how long you have been doing this.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, come on, intro.
That long?
Yeah, right? So first of all, thank you so much, Dr. Dawn, for just having me on. What we go back to when I seen you on stage just doing your thing, and I said, okay, she fired from day one, and delivering information. What was that in Houston? That was like 5 years ago or whatever.
It wasn't that long. Who knows?
Yeah, 3-4 years, something like that. But it was a great experience, great networking, and we've had a chance to just lock arms ever since then. So I just want to thank you so much for even having me on this show this evening. So
my pleasure.
Hopefully we can share something, right? So me, originally from Jersey, located here in Atlanta, Georgia. This relationship space is something that was what Pastor Mike McClure said. I didn't pick it; it picked me. And but as I began to walk in it from a purpose perspective, I can't tell you just how amazing that it is. Of course, 3-time author on my latest book is Understanding a Man, Memoirs from a Father to a Son. So I interviewed 24 men about various topics that if we had to speak to our younger selves, what information will be passed down if we all, could reach back. And so getting back out into traveling around and just having conferences and just speaking with couples from a relationship coach perspective. And so I do work one-on-one with relationship coaching with couples as well, pre-marriage, which is the one I love the most, along with singles and married as well. So I think that's my elevator version.
Yeah. I mean, come on and look him up. We're not making this up. I didn't bring somebody on and say, look boy, just pretend. We not desperate for this. That's all I'm gonna say.
Can you hear me? I think your voice went down for like a second. You wanted whatever that button was before. Gotta hit that other button, the other one. Bam.
You good now?
You had me, but I mean, as long as they can hear you.
We're good.
Yeah, she said can't hear you. Yeah, okay, you're back.
Okay. Okay. You can hear me now, right,
Yeah,
Chelsea?
you are good. You good.
Okay, perfect. So Elam, let's get into and see. I be playing with the buttons. Dr. Don needs to leave things alone.
Come on.
Right, right. Okay. I'm see if I leave stuff alone and God said, let me handle it and just do the show, then we'll be fine. Now, Elam, let's talk about that. Self-care awareness month. Let's get into it. Why is self-care important in a relationship? Because so many people neglect self-care.
Oh my goodness.
Mhm.
So this is a whole hour, that bullet point right there.
Huh.
So I'm gonna try to like shrink this down
Yeah.
and just say that one of the things that I love to share with couples when I first begin to work with them is I say the number one person in this relationship is you.
Mm. Is
Okay.
that selfish though? Some people would say, well,
No, it
that's
is not.
selfish.
No, it
Okay.
is not.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Keep going.
Because it's all the way I look at it, let's just keep it real simple. Okay.
Hmm.
Let's look at the entire airline industry. Okay. Now, mama's on plane with little baby. Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. Now, when what do they say? When cabin pressure drops,
Hmm.
okay, when the mask drop down, who do they say put on the oxygen mask first?
Mama.
Okay. Now, little baby there can't breathe, right? But did they say worry about little Johnny? No. They
Yeah.
said worry about yourself first.
Yeah.
Okay. And so I like to share that as not only something that we all know about, but if you think about it, if you're not right, how can you be with anybody else from an intimate relationship perspective? It's not you can't even it's not even fair to them. You're not even giving them all of you because you don't even have all of you. You
And
don't
that's a
have
good analogy.
and
That's a good
so
analogy.
and so what we do is, so we take all of us or a little piece that we have of us and we give that to the person, right? But
Mm.
that's really all that we had left because we never worked on our 100. So maybe we're only operating on 50,
Yeah.
51, and we give 49. Well, that's why
Mm.
you're tired,
Yeah.
right? You're missing a whole half of yourself,
Yeah.
you know? So if you focused on yourself first, right? And made sure you knew what you are, then that increases your what? Your value,
Yeah.
right? Once your value increases, now you know who qualifies to be with you.
Come
Who
on.
qualifies to be with you is the first piece of the self care.
Come on.
You know what I'm saying? Like, well, the first piece of obviously knowing yourself, but once you know that, then you know who qualifies, right?
Yes.
And so if you have a piece of you first, then you know that it's okay to, I don't care if you want to yoga, I don't care if you want to sit in the backyard and read a book, I don't care if you want a girls trip, boys trip, golf trip, whatever, you can have your space first.
Come on now.
And that allows you to maximize having the space that somebody else might need of you as well. So, and if
Ooh.
you don't have that level of self care, what we do is if you don't have an expectation for yourself, you will attach yourself to somebody else's expectations and then resent them for what you attach yourself to.
Come on now.
You'll miss the fact that you made the decision to go after their expectations instead of having
Oh
your own
man.
and theirs. I'm sorry.
No. And I love when I have aha moments, right? That's how I know. And that's why you're back, right? Because I love when I get aha moments from my guests. You just said it. And Kenya, Nicole, she says, I have her comment up here. She says, wholeness, oneness.
Come on.
I mean, this is, self-care. And also, if it was self-care, you're not going to be in a toxic relationship. But we'll get to that later. We'll get to that later. Chelsea, I'm about to put her comment up here. Elam, expectation. That's good. That's good right there. Because Elam, I mean, you hit it on the head. So many people, they don't even know who they are. And they think a relationship is going to make it better. They think it's going to complete them. They think that's self-care. Okay, he's a good man. She's a good one. No, boo. That's why you have problems down the line. But how have you seen, Elam? Well, let's talk about men. I want to get into men, okay? Because you wrote the book and then you wrote a memoir. We need to talk about the men. Men don't say, I need self-care, right? They say, babe, I'm going to play golf or I'm going to hang out with the guys tonight. Women need to understand, in a way, that's him saying, I need self-care.
Yeah. Well, we have to understand that the emotional intelligence of us as men is, you can kind of see it evolving a little bit now. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It was not there. Now, what we did have is some of the most loyal, some of the, strong, I guess we'll just say some strong backs, some people who went through the fire to build, a major, I guess, platform for you and I to currently exist on today. Those are some very strong men. My grandpa and them, they was just hardworking men, family men. There was no internets. You know what I'm saying? They just
Yes.
watched the little news and went to sleep, right? And so here we come, right? And it's a space to whereas, there was a lack of, even though they were amazing creatures in that aspect, right? The emotional intelligence wasn't really passed the way that now that we're a little bit more grown, that we now understand, So that same thing that built us to be so forward, tough, and be so emotionally disconnected so that we could be out here and survive, right?
Yes.
And work hard and do what we got to do. And let's just keep it 1,000. Don't be a black man, right? You're even more taught of how somebody does not care what you think or whatever case would be. So you just keep your feelings and your comments to yourself. Then we meet you, Dr. Dawn, right? And now you require communication.
Yes.
Right?
The standard is higher.
You do 20,000 words a day. We do 5,000 words a day. You want to communicate. We were taught to not communicate, right? And so now you're desiring something from us that subcultures didn't teach us, right? And that by, there's a small part of nature of how we're not as communicative as you, right? So you add those two together, add a few distractions of life, and we're like, I don't even know how I feel. So I want to go do something. I don't even know that it's self-care. I'm disconnected from me, so I got to find something to do, right? And that's how we as men can step out and do the wrong things at times because we go looking for that completeness out there, not recognizing that it's really in here. And there's just there's a reset that us as men do need to make. And I think people need to make it, period. But as the leaders that we need to be, we need to hit a reset of who am I really?
Oh, yes. And I like that you said reset. We don't do that. We just keep going. Okay, let me go to the next relationship. Let me go. No, you need to sit down and reset. And let me read some of these comments and see that's how we're about value and impact here on It's No Judgment, Just Realness. Kenya Nicole says he's teaching. Where can I get his book? Chelsea, your manager, has put up his information and said elambking.com. Check him out. Check him out. This is the impact. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
He's teaching. Elam, you hit it on the head. We need a reset. Who am I really? We don't want to sit down and do that as men and women. Talk about that right there, Elam. Who am I really?
So why don't we know? A portion of the reason why that we don't know is we can get back to the portions of communication, right? The top 3 reasons for divorce: number 1 is infidelity, number 2 is finances, and number 3 is communication. And number 3 and number 1 bounce back and forth between which is really the biggest one. 90% of the clients that come to me, they come with the communication challenge, and then there's infidelity. But here's the thing: think about it. Infidelity is really what? A communication gap, right? Nobody wakes up in the morning and says, "Today I'm going to go cheat." Nobody does. I have never met that person.
That's right.
It's something that's a gradual. It could go 1 day to 2 days. It can go 1 day to 90 days. You know what I'm saying? Then you make a move. It could be 6 months. But it's a progression of.
But you know what? Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, so, people have to just understand that, what self-care does inside of a relationship is that it helps make you whole first.
Oh, yeah.
And then you don't have to go search for that somewhere else because love is just like water. You got to have it, right? And if you poke a hole in a cup, that water is eventually going to run out. And if you're not connected enough to yourself to understand what is your emotional intelligence and what do you need, if you don't really know what you need, then you cannot share with somebody else what they need.
Come on now.
Everybody's grown until it's time to communicate.
Yeah.
When it's time to communicate, everybody takes their ball and they go home and they want the other person to figure out what their ball is and how to use it. If you say it out loud, it makes no sense. And that's why sometimes my 15 and my 20 and my 10 plus year people, marriages, y'all get on my nerves. But you think you know something, okay? And in actuality, if you really sat back, do you really know you, and do you really know your spouse?
That's
do you think that just because you've been with them for this amount of time that y'all just know each other?
Language. The love language changes. What it was the first 2-3 years of marriage, it's seasoned. Your needs are going to change.
They're going to change, and that's how you have people that when they reach that, we grew apart. Stop it.
That's right.
Let's stop using these words that makes you feel better. Well, we grew apart. Nobody grows apart. Nobody grows apart. This is what really happened. You directly and indirectly stop paying attention to the other person, and you stop paying attention to yourself. You stop communicating to them who you were, and they stop communicating to you. That's a direct approach.
Come on now. I love real talk about relationships because we make excuses. Oh, we grew apart. No, you have to accept responsibility. And it's not enough accountability.
No.
It's not enough accountability. And I like that you talked about communication. And let's go back to adultery, right? Let's go back to infidelity. And usually I'm not moved by social media, Elam, but there's a quote, and you may have seen it. It says, affairs don't start in the bedroom. It starts with that coworker who listens to them, who doesn't argue with them. And I'm not saying it's right, but affairs don't start in the bedroom.
Let's make sure we put that disclosure out there. When we're having a mature conversation, let's just lay it on the platform. Adultery is clearly, biblically, morally, across the board, it is wrong.
Right.
Okay, let's be very clear with that.
Right.
Okay. But what we have to do is, the thing is, the challenge is we judge the sinner instead of the sin. You see what I'm saying? We're so busy looking at why this person did it because this person is so beautiful. So why would you ever do something like that?
Yeah.
When beauty is like at the end of the list, right? There's an attraction that we see beautiful people all the time, right?
Yeah.
What makes you stop? What hits your brake? You have an A and a B side of your brain, right? Your left brain is the gas, and your right brain is the brake, right? And so I've learned this over time, and so you have a brake, married, taking care of business. She's here for me here. She's here for me there. She's all that runs through your mind in like a nanosecond, and you're like, yeah, ooh, she looked good. Never mind.
Yeah.
Because it look good. Oh, watch this. Let's back up from there, right? Let's move away from look. Let's go to emotional, right? When you just start having a conversation, right?
Yes.
And now all of a sudden somebody says what they don't have, and then the other person says what they don't have, and you know what you then begin to do? You become chameleons, right? You match what the person's really saying. Now you're thinking, oh my God, they're so in touch with me, and you told them
the problem.
You are the problem.
And you are so correct, because I interviewed a couple, and God healed their marriage from infidelity. And he had a physical affair. Her affair was emotional. But woman of God, she said, you have to be careful sharing problems about your relationship with other people, because you can start to think, just like you said, Elam, oh, he understands me. Well, first of all, you done told him all your business about your boo. You see what I'm saying? And
so if he wants to, so at that point, he can make a decision.
Yeah, he or she
can make a decision.
That's right.
I'm going to be friends with them, or let me open. You crack the door. Let me open the door the rest of the way.
Oh,
right?
My goodness.
And now all of a sudden, the horizontal end is the end result. Right. And so what we need to do is, if think about just even in that moment, people were talking, they were sharing who they really were. Right.
That's right.
And I think that sometimes, and that's why I said some of my tenured folk get on my nerves in these relationships, because you figure that the other person's supposed to just know, and they don't. If you have, okay, real quick, during COVID, right? People recognize that these businesses out here recognize the way that they were running. Their expenses were getting higher than their revenues. So what did they have to do in order to stay in business? They adjusted, right? I just had a friend tonight that worked for Delta. I didn't even know Delta didn't lay anybody off, but I heard that they cut the salaries of a lot of the employees, because they're like, you can have no job, or
you can have it. Yeah. Oh, wow.
But I was just like, wow, what did they do? Right? Commendable to adjust, right? We're not trying to lay nobody off, but they said they were bleeding like $100 million a day.
Wow.
So they had to make an adjustment, right? They could just say, y'all just do more revenue so that we can make more money. No, they didn't say that. They made an adjustment, right? Because the business aspect of marriage is not paid attention to. The business aspect of relationship, whereas if our expenses if our emotions that are hurting us, if our pain is higher, right, than the joy and the blessings that are coming in, we need to what? Sit down and have a conversation.
Have a conversation. Have a
And have a third party there. If you're not able to do that one-on-one, it's okay. It says a wise man remains in counsel.
Come
So
on.
it's okay in our culture. We need to move aside the fact that it's not okay to be in counsel. You
right.
cannot use the same brain that got you in the situation to get you out. You have to use a different brain.
And I want to read Chelsea's comment, and I like that. And thank you all for the comments. Kenya says accountability. Yeah, we need to be accountable, right? But I want to read this comment from Chelsea. She said the business aspect of relationships are not tended to. You know why? Because, and this is my opinion, views and opinions. This is my opinion. Elam, agree, disagree is not what this show is about. You agree with everything I say, because it's all about romance and all of this and all this fluffy love stuff. The business aspect. And I think in all the years I've talked relationships, you're the first one who has given insight on the business aspect. That's deep and that's good.
Yeah, I actually learned that at a conference one time, right? And they were just talking about how they sit down at the end of the year. People always go on New Year resolution, whatever case it be. But just like a company, right? You sit down with your life partner. And you say, this is where we want to be, next year financially. This is where we want to be with the kids. This is where we want to be with us, right? And then watch this. This is where I want to be with me.
Yeah.
This is where I want to go. And so and watch this, not assuming that you're going to know what to do. This is my requirement. Come on, business. When you roll out information, you're part owner in this business, right? This is where I do believe 50-50 comes into play, right? You guys are 50-50 owner in this marriage business. Well, hey, sit down and have a conversation with your business partner about next year and include yourself, self-care. Include yourself. This is where you want to go on a trip. This is where you want to go with taking a class. This is where you want to go with building a business. This is where you
because
in there.
Because if we got together 5 years ago, okay, I wanted to be a wife, mother. Now I want to go to grad school. I want to own my own business, babe. I want to, again, communication. And let me read this comment from Kenya. I assume it's Kenya. I don't know why they don't pop her beautiful picture up, but hey, that's neither here nor there. I know it's her. She says people are struggling with proper communication.
Yeah. And that's exactly what we're talking about.
Give us some how-tos. Give us some how-tos on that.
Well, that's one. Think about it. I'm glad that we're going towards the end of the year, right? You got about 90 days. October is Saturday, right?
Yeah.
You got 90 days.
Yeah.
To put a plan together. Sit down with your partner. Have a business meeting. Don't do it at home.
Okay, right? Where should they do it?
Don't do it at home. Pick a restaurant to go to. Have a business meeting. Heck, go to the library and get a conference room. You got a whiteboard. You got everything in there, and you can schedule an hour with your partner, right? And talk business, right? Get away from the home because maybe little Johnny. You don't need little Johnny in the other room to need some applesauce. No, you need an hour away. Right.
And I think out of the home, you get a different perspective.
Yes, you do.
It's a fresh environment, fresh. Because I was just going to say, why not at home? But yeah, you touched on that.
I want to let me back that up, though.
Okay.
Sit down and write out your vision.
Yes.
Right. Where do you want to go? Just like you just made a comment earlier. Hey, now I want to take a class or whatever that you just said earlier. Somebody is transitioning. Yes, 17, 15. 3 years ago, 25 years ago. No, you didn't say that's what you wanted to do, but you might want to do something different. It's okay. Change is okay. Anything that does not change will atrophy, aka die. That's why if you're not evolving, right, you hit that dead zone within your relationship, right? And so the self-care, one of the biggest pieces is knowing what you want and now sharing that with your partner. Maybe your expectation is they watch the kids a little bit more. Maybe for the next 16, 18 months. Have a conversation. You can't assume just because you say you want to go back to school now that the other person well, okay, I guess I'll watch the kids.
And we need to discuss what is that going to look like for us.
What does it look like?
That's going to look different. Okay, I'm not going to be at home at 5 or 6 o'clock to fix dinner. 3 nights of the week, I have classes. So what is that going to look like? Is your mom going to come in and babysit? See, when you communicate, you can be proactive instead of reactive. And all these challenges, problems,
assumptions.
what is the change going to look like? I like this, and make a business plan.
Right.
No evolution. That's what Chelsea says. Let me pop this up. I tell you, this is good, Elam. A business plan. We don't think about that. First time I have heard even when you hear couples talk about marriage and all of that, what happens? It's all about the romantic. We do this, we have me time, and that's wonderful. But you are the first one who I have ever heard talk about business, and I'm going to clap it up. I'm playing the applause. Do you hear that? I love when I get aha moments from my guests. Oh, yes.
Hey, listen. So my what was a 9 o'clock just went away. So now you got me now. Okay.
So wait. I hope. We didn't run her off. What happened?
No, I mean no. Just reschedule. Go ahead.
Okay. So we're good, Elam.
Oh, I mean we rolling now. So.
And not that Chelsea put up hearts, but we hope we know that's going to be resolved. She didn't cancel you, right? So or they didn't cancel you, but good. No. So let's keep this conversation going for a little while longer. I want to, and my goodness, we didn't even touch on all these talking points. All right, Dr. Dawn, she says proactive. Chelsea says, I'm taking notes. And when Chelsea, one of the best bloggers, right, at Wife Life Ministry, shout out to her. I think this is the same Chelsea in Wife Life, says that means something. We're doing value here tonight. Let's talk about, again, Elam, let's go back to it's healthy for couples to have time away from each other.
Yes.
It's healthy to have time away from each other. All that, he's my best friend, she's my best friend, that's real cute. But there are times when you need time away from each other.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that actually, and particularly, and I know for women, particularly between the ages of 35 and 65, this is a time that this actually helps expand your health.
That's good.
You live longer by having other recreational friendships, connections. Those connections are so powerful, particularly for women, because of how their brains are wired. They're wired to have more of that camaraderie and that togetherness. Not that men don't need it, not that we don't want it, but it's literally like a desire for women, right? They want to connect. During the pandemic, it was a higher percentage of women that were like hitting a depression because guess what? They couldn't connect. Your brain circuits, your central nervous system actually connects with another person. Right. And has that. And so when that connection is not there, that's what I'm saying. What do people really think soul ties are? It's your central nervous system connecting with the other person. So you actually become that connection becomes so close, but that's another topic for another day. But so I would say, sometimes it sounds good when we're like, okay, well, I can't do this and I can't do that because I have this job or I have these kids or I have these responsibilities. Let me tell you something. You better add you in the equation.
That's right.
Right. And sometimes you got to say no to people.
That's right.
Including them little people. Right.
Yes.
Sometimes, listen, I tell people all the time, especially like if their kid is like 11 or 10 or 11 or younger,
that age,
8:30, you in the bed. Why? Because I need me time.
That's right.
You still up 9, 10 o'clock rummaging around on a school night. That's not going to work. No. That was one thing that I was strict about in my home. It was 8 for little people.
Yeah,
once you start cracking like 11, 12, I'll give you 8:30. But I need me time. And also, watch this, us time.
Yes. Time with your spouse. Time with absolutely. Your spouse. That's right.
Right? So that's self-care for you to just connect with your significant other.
That's right.
Right. So, I mean, we have to include ourselves inside of the equation, and we're not doing that. So joining organizations, and this is men or women, joining, I don't care if it's golf, I don't care if it's cruise. And here's the thing, is whether you want to spend time with that person, I get that. But there's also, it's healthy to have friendships outside of your significant other.
That's right.
Missing somebody is something, right? And it is scientific that if you are underneath, and if you don't have time away, right, it impacts negatively on your relationship. Not saying it's got to be 3, 4, 5 days. No,
That's
couple of
right.
hours.
Whatever you need, whatever that is for you.
Let him miss you sometimes. You know what I'm saying? And how impactful is it doing when the reunion
Oh yeah. I
under
mean, come on.
matrimony, you know,
Yeah.
it's amazing. So yeah.
But sometimes the no has to be to babe too. Has to be to your spouse too. Babe, we not going. I don't really want to hang with your friends at her birthday party tonight. She don't like us anyway. She just invited us because she wanted to. No, I'd rather be doing something else. You know, sometimes you have to say no to babe too.
Yeah.
And we don't do, you know, and I'm sorry, all of this.
No goes across the board.
I don't want to go to their birthday party.
Go.
I don't want to go to her birthday party. You don't even deal with her, babe. What we doing? You know, no, we're not doing that. We going on a little staycation. Or you can go to her birthday party, but I need time with the boys tonight because I can't be around all that fake stuff y'all be doing with them women. You know, I'm just saying sometimes you have to say no, and it's okay.
Yeah, no. I mean, pick up that word just for next year. And particularly, I'm just going to share this for women that are in their 40s, right? This is one of the times where it's deemed as, you can, of course, check my fact check me on this.
Absolutely.
40s is one of the biggest times where you can be unhappy.
Why is that?
Happy is at your lowest in your 40s. Well, that's a great question, Dr. Dawn. Let me just answer that question for you. Let's run it down. Okay, so you got a job at this point in life, right? Most of us, a lot of us, are not walking inside of our purpose and not doing what we really want to do in life. We are surviving.
Obligation. I have to pay the bills.
Surviving, gotta pay the bills. I'm grown. I gotta help around. Gotta pay the bills, whether you're a single mom or whether you're married, right?
Yes.
But let's just talk about just my married people. Let's just say you have that support. You married, right? Okay. All right. So you got a job, right? Well, society always told you had to be a what? Good mom, right? So now you got kids, right? And little Johnny and them running around. They could be younger. They could be older. Doesn't really matter at what age. It's like when they get older, you got to run them around all the place and take them all.
Yes.
And then when they're younger, you got to carry them around everywhere, right? Yeah. So the little Johnny, you got to be good to little Johnny and little Jennifer. You know what I'm saying? Got to be a good mom, right? Yes. All right. Now, at this age, if you're in your 40s, guess what? Your parents are sitting up there 70s or 80s, right? So that means they're getting sick, right?
Caregiver, yeah.
Now you're a caregiver. There's a son or a daughter. The daughter's always going to be the caregiver. That son ain't doing that. Right? Like, yo, sis, you got that. Like, I'm not washing mom. I'm not doing it, right? So, or dad, like you can handle both of those. I'm not doing none of that, right? Yeah. So you got your parents, right? Okay, then you got them friends and family, other people, you know, maybe pulling at you, this, that, third, whatever the case to be. Maybe they got trials and tribulations going on, whatever. So you're carrying that stress too. Okay, cousin them, all of that, right? Wait a minute, you got a whole husband at home. Okay, so now you got a husband at home. You got to try to be a good wife, what I'm saying to be. So now let's add that up: job, kids, parents, friends and family, husband. Who am I missing?
Me. Yeah.
But all these things are important, and you got to get them done, right? Because I mean, if you don't, it makes you feel some type of way as a woman.
Yes.
Right? You don't get them kids right, you feel some type of way as a woman. Right? You don't get the job right, you feeling some type of way. If you don't get the wife them right, you feeling some type. You got to be a good daughter. Got to take care of mom and dad.
Yes.
Who are you gonna say no to?
Yeah, that superwoman syndrome. You know, many women have. They neglect self-care, and men as well. You know,
and watch this. Notice the order that I went in. Because guess what's one of the first ones that you start saying no to? The husband.
Yeah.
You can't say no to mom and dad. Can't say no to the kids. You got to keep a job. Right? And you can't say no to your homegirl you've known since you were 15 and now y'all 40.
Yeah.
Right? So the husband starts getting the no's and he's kind of like, well, whoa. Wait a minute.
Then here comes the there's no communication.
Here comes the miscommunication.
You're putting everyone before him.
Right.
What's going to happen? The enemy creeps in.
Come on.
All the enemy needs is a crack.
Come on. So, and that's why I just say women to pay attention to that in their 40s. But don't get me wrong, this same scenario can go for men too. Same gambit, right? You got all these things. You got to be a man and take care of your responsibility of working, right? You know what I'm saying? You got, you might not have the parent one in there, right? But you got pretty much the same thing sitting there, and we don't even juggle stuff right. We're terrible at multitasking, right? So, who's the first one we say no to?
Yeah.
You.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now you feel some type of way.
That's good. That's good. Chelsea says, and then Chelsea says, hubby gets the 1% that's left over. Isn't that sad? Then we wonder why. And Val McCrae, Lady Val, Wife Life Ministry, she says, amen goes both ways. And you know, when she says amen, because she don't say amen to any. When you run in wife life, you can't agree with some of this relationship talk going out here, but she knows this is the real deal. Thank you, Lady Val. Now, Elam, and see, what I like is Elam brings facts. We not bringing fiction over here. Thank you, Johnny Lee, for joining us, brother. Elam, if you all have a question or if you have a comment, please put it out. I just love good conversation. I love Love Lounge conversation. But Elam, and that's, what do you tell a client or an individual when because see, we're about to go into toxic relationships right now. When it could man or woman, because we talked about how look, sometimes he need to go play golf. He need to hang with his boys. You don't need to be saying, well, why are you going, all that kind of stuff. How does one deal and have the conversation, a healthy conversation, when doesn't understand they need self-care? They need that me time. How do you know when it's, I don't understand, or when it's some toxic stuff going on?
I don't understand and toxic. Probably the first part of that is that if they're sitting in front of me, we've just came past half the battle, right? Because sometimes you're not able to effectively communicate that to your significant other, right? So then I can turn around and say the exact same thing.
Yes.
You have said, and the person's like, that's why I have my light bulb as my logo, right? Because it'll be like, ding, oh, I get it now. Yeah,
love it.
So, it is, I mean, the first step would be, just even somebody sitting in front of me doing that, I begin to tap into, and sometimes I have to, it takes a little bit for somebody to find out, what do they like?
Yes.
Some people have spent so much time inside of other people's expectations that they have no idea who they are.
That's right.
So they don't even know that they need these connections with other people. Because it's so lost in, sometimes we say things like, I just wanted to do this, but I just gave it all up. So I just wanted to raise the kids. Show me the Bible verse. I need somebody to show me the Bible verse where God says, you know what, give up of yourself and what I created for your children. Give up of all, become, don't walk in what I tell you to do. I created you for something.
Yes.
But I want you to give that up so that you could be a wife or a mother or an employee or a friend. You see what I'm saying? Like, no. But when we're just sticking inside of the relationship, so I could be a girlfriend or a wife, or I could be a husband or or a boyfriend. I'm going to give up just what I'm supposed to do, right? Who I need to connect with. No, it's not okay.
And I like Chelsea's comment. And people, I want you to pay attention. Chelsea, I mean, I'm telling you, she says we get lost in the expectations. The word lost, that's some deep stuff. When you are lost in a relationship, when you are lost, you have lost yourself.
You don't know that you don't know. That is one of the scariest places inside of a relationship. You don't even know that you don't know.
Ooh, and that's, honey, until it hits the fan, until it boils over.
And I learned this from one of my mentors, Donna Bingham, said, until the pain of not changing becomes greater than staying the same, you're gonna sit right there and still be that same person. Until that pain creeps up on you, and you're just like, And that's the problem. We're like, oh my God, I need to change, I need to do, and we like go do something drastic. So before we get there, right? Because we can still hit reset at any given point. I get it.
Oh, yes,
Right.
absolutely.
But here's the thing. Sometimes, and I will say this for mine, because Elam didn't figure him out till he was about 35. Okay, so I'm not passing judgment on anybody like I came out.
Honey, we there. We all in the boat.
I left.
We all.
I left
Yeah.
Hampton. I
You're
left
not
Hampton,
alone.
and I figured out that, oh, this is what I want to do in life. Like, no, that's not what happened, right?
That's right.
So I want to first give that reprieve to everybody yeah. So understand that it's okay to hit reset.
That's right.
And when you said the words accountability earlier,
Yes.
it's not only we're not accountable to ourselves.
That's right.
Which is why we struggle being accountable to somebody else, right? Because we don't even know the bar, right? It's like building a home, right? When you build a home, you don't just take a home and just plop it down on the grass. You don't.
That's
do that.
right.
What's the first thing they do? They build a concrete slab, right? And upon that rock, you can build a home, right? So the problem is we don't even have the slab. Right? We come in here, we start putting up walls and windows, and this look nice and that look nice, and what the internet say, and your slab don't exist.
Come
your
on
slab
now.
is cracked. There's no. Maybe you got a slab, but you got a crack in there, and you need some healing, and you're trying to build on that.
But instead, we put more chandeliers up, and we get a nicer table. Let's cover some of this mess up. No, let's address it.
Come on. And
communication.
And then I don't have my slab.
Come on now.
And watch this. Let me show you something scary.
Do it.
I don't have my slab.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have your slab. And we trying to build something.
Wow.
So not only do I have my brain to deal with, I got your brain to deal with. That's why it's a responsibility to be married. Everybody does not qualify to be married. Let's be very clear. It sounds good, but hopeless romantic people, I want to drag all of you out in the street and just leave you there like overnight. You know what I'm saying? It's just so that you could like this is punishment for the thoughts that you have, because it's not true. Everybody cannot just get married and just ride off into the sunset. It's not true. Okay, it's work. It's work to it.
It's work.
And some people don't qualify for the work. It's not that you're not a good person. You don't qualify for the work that's necessary to keep that thing together, because you can talk to anybody that's been in a marriage, right?
Oh, yeah.
Happy marriage. Come on, people. Let's start to back away from certain things, right? Happy is a space that it's different for your brain and my brain. So how do I say that I'm in a happy marriage if my brain is constantly evolving and so is yours? At some point, there was an unhappiness. And I don't know a couple that at some point somebody hasn't rolled over and been like,
yeah.
Let me think about this for a second.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Do we go ahead? Don't give me the
No. I'm just having my
everybody don't qualify for marriage.
When I got my arms up like this, that means it's good. I'm relaxing and I'm taking it in.
And then I have some very beautiful young ladies that I'm friends with, and they just be like talk about marriage, and I'll be sitting there like, you don't qualify to be married.
But you know what?
Until you evolve. Now you can requalify.
Come on now, reapply.
You can requalify. But some of you right now, if you sent in your application to be married, it would be rejected because you do not qualify. Right? You might make the income. Come on, it's just like buying a house. You might make the income. You might have a couple of assets, right? But guess what? Your history, when they look at that bank statement, when I look at your emotional bank statement, when I look at your history, it's kind of like, well, based upon this, you don't qualify, right? What I need you to do is I need you to come back. Okay? I need you to go work on that credit.
Yeah.
I need you to work on your emotional credit. I need you to work on, some of that slab, right? And then you can come back in 3 to 6 months and reapply. And some people don't want to reapply. They just keep submitting the same application with the same credentials, and you think that somebody's eventually going to underwrite your marriage, and they're not going to do it.
Or you meet someone who takes that application and you don't qualify because you don't want to be with that person who's healthy, who's going to tell you the truth about yourself.
Come on.
So you keep and we can talk about that. Well, it's a good man. Okay, but now we in another relationship. Now we in another one. Let's look at the pattern here.
Yeah.
If you heal, you'll be with a better partner. You'll heal. You're not going to be with this same string of men or women. Elam, I like that you said you have to qualify. There's nothing wrong with requalify. It's time to get healed. And I like what Lady Val says. Why did I get married? Why did I get married? And Brother McCray, and I'll use the words that her husband used, Elam, when they were on, and that was such a powerful, powerful show on relationships. He said, he asked couples when they come in, and Elam, you may do the same thing. He says, why are you marrying her? Why are you marrying him? And he says, sometimes they even are like, oh, let me think about that.
That is my number. You about to make me like, I'm about to run around this room.
Seriously.
That is my number one question that I ask all my pre-marriage people, right?
Yeah.
And here's the thing. But see, I have a caveat to mine. Because I'm like, okay, so why are you choosing this person? And I let them go first. I don't give them the instructions. I just let them go, right?
That's right.
And one of the first one or two things is because I love them. And I said, wait, hold on, time out.
That's the easy answer. Okay. We know, but
when that day comes, because it's not an if, it's a when. When that moment comes, I love them is not enough to keep a marriage together. We need to go ahead and say some things right now. I'm going to say this right now, right? Even just God is not enough in a marriage. Walk with me for a second, right? It says faith without works.
That's right.
So you can't just pray and just think your marriage is going to be okay. No, you actually have to do prayer, faith, and the work.
And God's divine order.
So it won't be dead.
And God's divine order. That's right.
So you got to do some work with this thing. So he like, hey, I get it. Pray to me, but you got to do some work with that. Like, listen, when I say something, don't wait and just, people say that, oh God, how does it go? Bottom line is this, we want to go more off of preference versus what the purpose really is.
That's good.
So he's giving you the purpose, but you want to go, I don't want to do that.
You don't want to put in the work.
You're waiting for him to hit. It's almost like playing the lottery, like, God, give me this one. And God gives you his, right? And you're like, ooh, I done hit the numbers. Let me keep praying. And you keep praying and praying and praying, and God keeps popping up these same numbers. And you're like, but I don't want to do that.
Well, then stay where you are. It's really, and that's what it comes down to. That's where it comes down to, Elam, because I go back to what I said about accountability. You can either stay where you are, or you can come back and resubmit your application, right? Like we talked about. Or what you need to do is reset, or you can stay where you are, or you can get better. But the thing is, Elam, it is better on the other side with healing, with communicating, with change. But some people just don't want to do it. It's hard to face the ugly stuff. It's hard to face it.
It really is. It's hard to look at yourself. We very, very rarely, when we even tell a story, right, we demonize the other person.
Yes.
Well, we're saying nothing but they, and I don't, and I'm just not, and I'm just, not even realizing that sometimes, these trials and tribulations are blessings in disguise that maybe show you a pattern of yourself, right? Woo! Perhaps because here's the thing you were saying earlier about divorce and about people getting married and like kind of moving through something that you said about that just sparked my mind to think that, okay, you actually have a higher percentage of getting divorced the second time than you did the first time. It's like 74% or something like that. Right? Why? Because most people don't heal from what happened. Don't give me the she cheated, he cheated, or he didn't make me happy, she didn't make me happy. What was your account? What did you do? You did something or lack thereof. And if I look down the line, the only common denominator of all your failed relationships is you.
Yeah. And I think if we look at and we go back to Elam, your comment on the slab, if you are mentally, spiritually, and emotionally strong, you can say, you know what? My slab is good, but they slab got some cracks in it.
Come
And
on,
let's be
Slab.
honest. Let's be honest. And I'm a woman, so I'm gonna say this to my sisters because I see it too much. We
Mhm,
lower our standards.
mhm.
Because we want a man, we want a baby by the time we 40, all that kind of
Come on.
foolishness going on, right? We
Mhm.
see his slab is cracked. Now, no man is gonna come
Oh.
perfect. That's not what I'm talking about.
Mhm.
Ladies, he makes a little less money. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about you see some clearly things that are going to be some problem, abuse. He just there's all kind of things, but you go with it anyway. Look at the foundation. Look at the foundation. Elam, people are going into marriages for the wrong reason. They know that person is just either they choose to ignore it or they don't see it for whatever reason because they're not in a healthy place. Too busy focusing on the wedding and not worried about the marriage. I'm we see it too much, Elam.
Yeah, a lot
We
of
see
people
it
marry.
too much.
A lot of people marry at a wedding and they don't understand that after them bells ring, you just took on an entity that has a 50% chance of losing. Okay, now watch this. Now watch
Yeah,
this. Inside of the minority community, you just took when you get married. Again, Google me.
do
Okay,
it. Yeah.
up to a 70% chance of divorce in the minority community. So let's just really look at this, folks.
Mm.
You're walking into an entity that has a higher percentage of chance of losing. Why is that? Not because it's not blessed, not because it's not amazing, not because it's not in divine order, but we have chosen to reduce it and not walk in this space and qualify for what we're doing,
That's
right?
right.
Not remain in counsel, right? Not
Uh,
have family meetings, right?
uh,
Not be emotionally intelligent, not even know our own purpose, but we've chosen to take on this I love and the sex is good and the teeth are nice and they make pretty babies and they make good money and we look at everything else, right? But the real qualifications we're not looking to do. Okay, well, those of you who used to play a sport, how hard did you practice when you played your rival team? How hard did you practice the week or two before? You practiced just a little bit more. You turned it up just a little bit, right?
mm,
If you want to choose to qualify for a marriage, you got to turn it up a little bit,
yeah,
right? And you have to practice just a little bit harder and
that's right.
practice, just like with a sport. They practice every single day,
Every
right?
day.
You might skip a day every now and then. I get it, right? But every day
To
you're
take a
literally
to
running a
reset, to take
practice.
a break, to get you right. That's self-care.
You see
But
what I'm
there,
saying? And when
yeah,
it's good, and then yep, then there's backup self-care. Okay, regroup. Okay, let's go on in. Right? And it's gonna be tough times. It is. And I think that Val said this earlier.
and I was just gonna
Love is
put her comment up.
yeah,
Yeah, talk
love is
on that.
proven. Love is proven through the weathering of storms. That's why people be like, we fell in love and got married. I'd be like, really? So you weathered all the storms. So
I
I can go to the 30-year marriage people and say their love is like your love. I can
no,
really do that. No, I can't do that
yeah,
because you need some storms. You
that's
know what I'm
right.
saying? We become better. It's scripturally put out there. I don't know the exact verse, but how God talks about how He chastens His children,
Hmm.
but it's for a
He
reason.
loves
He's
if he
trying to grow.
loves you. He chastises. He disciplines those who he loves.
Come on,
Um, but marriage is tested, and that's a test. How do you know your marriage can weather the storm until you have some storms?
come
It's
on,
all easy, Elam, but when you take those vows and he loses his good six-figure job and you lose, what you gonna do? You
come
see
on.
who you really have
Oh, COVID just brought that
when
out for a
times
lot of
are
people.
tough.
Hmm.
Because isn't that some of the reason? Through sickness, through health, you read these pretty vows, but you're gonna have to stand on them. That's why who you marry, the foundation, is so important. Of who are you marrying? Um, my goodness. Let me read this. Damon says, let's get it. Chelsea says, woo child, the common denominator is you.
Why don't you put that as a
I love
hashtag?
her hashtags. She's
I hate
queen of
Chelsea.
hashtags tonight. If I could give out a hashtag award, Chelsea,
I
you
can't
get
stand you,
the
Chelsea. Thank you.
hashtag.
You're so funny.
Elam, you definitely have, and I love the fact that women just really love what you're saying because I find, and this is me, Elam.
Mhm.
Tell me what you think. People are laughing. Chelsea, you can laugh. You the queen of hashtags tonight, boo.
She's
But
stupid.
Elam, I can tell them. The Dr. Don can tell you this is men, men, men. But when a man, Elam tells you, when a man tells you what men are looking for. Or when a man tells you, sisters, this is what you don't you find sometime that women accept it differently? Sometimes it
Yes.
depends.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. It's interesting. And I would say being in the relationship coaching space,
Hmm.
I have never seen something be more magnetic, particularly to Black men,
Yeah.
than this space right here. I am hired multiple times by all races
Yeah.
because I'm a Black man.
Mm.
They feel like that I can connect because I'm normally about 85% of the time I'm met by the wife or the girlfriend to
Yeah.
go into the pre-marriage or go into just counseling, period, right? Because us men, we're a little rigid, like I was talking about
Oh, yeah.
earlier, right?
Yeah.
So, but they say, I feel like that you can connect with
That's
my
right.
husband. And then I can also listen to you as well. That's what they always say. They're like, I can listen to you. I got you. But I feel like that he's going to be able to connect with you.
Yeah.
Not saying that Dr. Dawn or any other female that's in this space can't, rock and roll, but I'm just saying what I hear to myself is kind of like, yo, you can
Yeah.
you can
And
connect with my husband.
I think coaches, therapists, counselors, don't get in your feelings. Don't get, oh my gosh, it's not that you're not good enough, but it's like who at the end of the day, who is that person going as long as they're getting healed? I'm going to send you to Elam. If we're not connecting, let me send you to Elam because I want you to get healed. He may be the coach for you. Let me send you over there because at the end of the day, this is purpose. And my purpose and our purpose, right, is people getting better, healing, walking into healthy relationships, being who they are in God, right? So if it's not me, refer them. Refer them. Elam, Kenya has a comment, and I want to know
I hope you're
on
about to
this.
say, okay, I was hoping
Come
you was
on.
about to
I
go.
mean,
I saw it. I saw
look,
it.
he Dr. Don. I don't shy away from the hard questions and the ugly stuff.
I
It's no
saw it.
judgment, just realness. Trust me, I was getting to this is the finale, honey. Okay, look. Kenya, this is what she said. Y'all listen up. She says, I was told today that women should accept that men will cheat. She says, I don't believe all men cheat. Oh, my goodness. Oh, Elam, what do you say to that? My goodness.
Let's start off this from a biological
Thank you,
perspective.
Kenya, for sharing that.
Thank you, Kenya, so much for sharing that.
And I'm glad she ended it. I don't believe all men cheat.
And thank you so much because
Yeah.
it is important to hear that.
Even if you've been hurt, you know all men haven't
Yeah,
cheated.
yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, even in the most recent transactions that have occurred across social media, right?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
got people just saying this and saying that, right?
Yeah.
And the funniest one was when they had like the DMX women that were all in there saying that these are all the women that have been cheated on. I actually had to laugh at that. I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah.
They started off by saying this person, then they said your mother, and kept going down. And they said,
Yeah, I saw it. You and all
like,
this.
You,
Yeah.
you. I was just like, words. So they're just trying to basically say it happens to all women, right? Just to your question.
Yeah.
And let me just say this. First of all, from a biological perspective, right? A man's sexual organs are 4 times the size. It's like quadruple the size of a woman's in their brain, right? So we do have a higher drive.
Yeah.
On average, biologically. And so you have a space that exists out here that it looks as if men cheat more than women. I don't think that. I think that women are probably better at it. And we just dumb.
Let me tell you, I have done shows with fathers, single fathers, who's the woman stepped out, she left.
Yeah, I mean, I get it all the time. What being in this space, I'm like, it's really not true. It's just that women are better at it. Like we're kind of dumb. You know what I'm saying?
Let's look at what television, what the media portrays.
And then
the woman is
that out there.
One cheated on. Oh my gosh! And the man is the big bad.
But watch this.
Always.
I don't care, man or woman, woman or man, whoever got cheated on. Cheating is not a problem. Cheating on average is a symptom of a problem.
Let's talk about it.
And we don't want to go look at the symptom. We just look at the problem. We want passwords. We want you to call. We want you to, you know what I'm saying, hang out with us more. We want you to say, I love you before you wake up in the morning and when you go to bed at night. We want to do all these things. And I have yet to see one person come up with a litany of different things that they want their man or woman to do to build the trust back up. And those things, they were able to do them long enough that all of a sudden you hit this utopia of trust.
Beautiful. And Lady Val, let me say, she says that's because there's so much private and hidden jealousy between unhealthy women. Then she also says cheating is the result of an unaddressed issue.
There you go. That's why I say it's the symptom of a problem. If I walked up to you right now, Dr. Dawn, and sneezed on you and mucus came all out of my nose or whatever the case would be and got all on your blouse, I'm sure you would say we had a problem, right?
Yeah.
But that's not really the problem. The problem was I didn't take my Zyrtec this morning.
Yeah.
I didn't take my Zyrtec because the problem is I have allergies. But it looked like when I sneezed that was the problem. When people cheat, it looks like that's the problem. That's not the problem. The problem is the problem. Right? But when you have people that put themselves in situations to whereas, you know, you want to play house, right? And you want to have these extended amount of engagements. I'm going to go ahead and say it. Okay. It don't take that long. It don't take that long, right? And if you want to live committed in an uncommitted situation, you're going to get sent married people's problems with no covering.
Come on now.
Okay. You're sent the same problems. That's why it looks the same, right? Sometimes I have unmarried people say, yeah, they committed infidelity in the relationship. What? No, he didn't. You don't belong to him and he don't belong to you. He was unfaithful. That was wrong.
Yeah.
Right? She was unfaithful. That was wrong. But here's the thing. I mean, sometimes we got to crap or get off the pot. You can't straddle the fence, right? If you want the covering that exists inside of marriage and be able to walk down some of these problems a little bit differently, you can't just be walking around with a ring on talking about, you know, that's my husband, that's my wife. It's not true.
And it's so interesting to me. We give privileges. You're wearing a crown when you're a spouse, right? And I just, you know, cannot wait until God blesses me with my husband, because just all the knowledge, right, that I receive, I'm like, man, but it's a privilege. It's a crown we're wearing when you're married, right? So you king, queen, royalty. I mean, it's important, right? But we give these privileges, these titles. That's my husband. Because one time there was somebody who said, oh, me and my wifey, and I was congratulating a relative, and they said, they not married. I said, but he said wifey on social media. You know, I mean, all of that going on.
You know, it's almost like, I mean, and don't get me wrong.
And that's cute. It sounds cute, but come on, Elam. We're giving.
You know what Val said about marriage is honorable, right?
Yes.
Let me show you why it's dishonorable.
Do it.
It's dishonorable because we don't recognize the work that has to go with it.
Yeah.
Right. And then pass that on to those that are looking at. We don't give them the real. Right. Yeah. Your mama and daddy, they didn't really tell you all of the little intricacies of this thing. They just said, just trust God and love. Well, that's not true, ladies and gentlemen. That's about as true as climbing the corporate ladder and becoming CEO. We'll put that right next to that same one. It's not just trust God and love. It's so many other intricate pieces. Those are intricate pieces. You definitely need that third cord intertwined between you and your mate. Yes, you do. You definitely need love. Yes, you do. But you need more than that.
Yeah. Like you said, put in work. Yeah. It's work. And Kenya's laughing, but I did. I said, oh, congratulations. I saw your relative got married. They said, congratulations to my wifey. They said, they not married. He just called her his wife.
I mean, but we do that. We have to, but watch this. But this goes back to the first point of this very conversation.
Yeah.
Finding yourself first.
Yes.
And
you won't be so loose.
Come on. If you know yourself, and people be thinking that just because people are celebrities or that they're making a certain amount of money and they're married or they're in a relationship that, oh my gosh, how could it happen to that person? Those people are people. Okay? They're people, right? They might be walking in their purpose and what their calling is, but there's other qualifications that are here that maybe they might be missing. So you're just like, oh my God, well, they know themselves. They're a great actor, actress, ball player, guitarist, preacher, businessman, businesswoman, whatever,
Yeah.
Banker, lawyer, doctor. Yes, they're great. They found their purpose. Great. They got step one. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Right. But then what was the choices that they made thereafter that was congruent with the value of who they were?
That's
right? Because we got a lot of great people that are insecure.
And I like you said value. I think you used that earlier, but value. If you know who you are and whose you are, a child of the king, and like Lady Val said, marriage is honorable. You're not going to just, even though they're nice people, you love them, their application, you need to reject that application. You need to sit silent in your singleness and keep preparing yourself. It's a lot of desperate, seriously. And because marriage is a beautiful thing.
It
and I can speak from experience, making mistakes, dealing with men I knew I shouldn't have. But see, Elam, this is what I never do. I don't say, well, he did this. No, I made the choice to lay down with this man because I wasn't in a place where I love myself. I wasn't in a place where I was healed. We talked about accountability. The Dr. Dawn was at a place when she didn't accept accountability. But I can absolutely say, no, he didn't trick me into anything because I wasn't healed. I allowed my body to be used. Sweetheart, you have to know who and whose you are. Now, we're not playing that game. You know what I'm saying? But we have to own it. No, he didn't make you do anything, sweetheart. You didn't love yourself. That's why you got taken advantage of. That's why. And I'm not talking about rape, and that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, oh, he used me. Well, we allowed it. You allowed it.
And shout out to my single people. Let me be very clear, because marriage is honorable, but let me be very clear. Singles, don't you let these married people sit up there and act like that they're better than you, because they're not, right? They might be under a different covering and blessing, but let me tell you something. You are in the best position of your life, and don't let nobody tell you nothing different, right?
Absolutely.
Because you have an opportunity of designing your future exactly the way you want to it, or as close to dad going it, to the mark, to the point that you can get it, right?
That's
and
right.
So some of these married people, they made decisions, and now they're just in acceptance mode, or they don't want to die alone.
Come
right?
on now.
So don't think that just because you see them on trips and all this and that all is good in the land at the crib, right? Because I know a bunch of single people that it's much better for them to be in their space by themselves than to be under the roof with somebody. Because let me tell you something, there's no lonely like being married to somebody, being under the same roof with somebody, and they are 1,000 miles away.
Because and Lady
and you're
Val,
in the same home.
Lady Val and her husband have been on the show, and you can say, how long have you been married? How long have you, but are you happily married? That's another question. See, we're not going to have you on the Dr. Dawn radio show. Oh, we've been married for 20 years. Yeah, boo. But I can tell if this is real or if y'all just keeping together for the marriage conferences. Y'all have it. I can't have everybody. You know what I'm saying? You can see right through it. Some of it. And we pray for them. But you are so right, Elam. Now look, Chelsea, your manager.
I was hoping you didn't say it. I saw her question. I said, "Oh my gosh, she want to go the next hour." Stop it, Chelsea. Stop it,
darling. Look, let me tell y'all
something. Stop asking these questions, because I could go on that one that she just put up there. Ooh.
Let's answer her question, and then what about he got potential claim? Let's do that. Let's answer that question, because look, y'all, Dr. Dawn has to do her other segments, and we got to go into prayer time later in the show. But we are going to end with Chelsea's question, and then we want to hear final comments from you. I love the dialogue. We let the Lord lead this show. Right. Do it, Elam.
I would just say this. Ladies, one of the most amazing features about you that God has given you is your ability to be a nurturer. Right?
Yes.
Because when you become a parent, that coddling and that nurturing that's necessary for a child is so important. There's a book by Dr. Luann Brizendine called The Female Brain. I want to encourage all women to read it. She wrote also The Male Brain. It needs to go like this: the Bible, and then Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill, and then the male brain and the female brain by Dr. Luann Brizendine. Because what she does is that she gives you information about how your brain works. So they did this study of how when they gave a fire truck to a boy and when they gave a fire truck to a little girl, what happened? The little boy, what was he doing? Riding it around, whatever case it be. The little girl, she put it in a blanket and swaddled it. Because the nurturing is like innate in you, right? Of just birthing something. You give you sperm, you make a baby, right? You give you groceries, you make a meal. Give you a house, you make a home. You're able to duplicate things that are given to you. That's why that's one of your superpowers, right? But what it is not your responsibility of doing is nurturing a man, right? Past what he's willing to do for himself. Right? When you're with a child, they're not able to do for themselves, right?
That's right.
So you give them, you see what I'm saying? You're already conditioned to give it all, right? But when you come across somebody who has potential, okay, look at what he gonna do.
Or
not what you're gonna give him to do.
Come on now.
Right? Now you can know that you can add some frosting, but the cake needs to go bake by itself.
Come on now.
So I'm not asking you, you don't need to be the eggs and the flour and the milk.
And the oil and the eggs.
And the oil and the oven.
Yeah.
No, right? You can be the frosting.
Yeah.
Right? So what I'm sharing with you is that, if you see somebody that has some potential, right? That's great. Cool. That's what makes y'all stay right in there. But don't think for 1 second that a lot of times the men out here that we don't know that you think that we're potential. So that's what makes you hang on. Don't think that they don't know that. A lot of us out here, we know what we got with us.
Yeah.
And so we know that, she knows that I might pop one day. So I can hold her here for 5 years. Can hold her here for 2-3 years. If you valued yourself, you would know that it don't take that long. Right? So just be cautious. I would say to Chelsea, just to your question, yes, he got potential claim is great, right? But watch what they do. It's almost like, and I'm sorry, I got to put this point in here. It's almost like when sometimes ladies or men, I'm going to say this is across the board, but sometimes, men might say, I'm putting on too much game tonight. Oh my gosh, I'm going to lose my man card, but let me just go ahead and put this one out here. When they're just like, I just would really want to be with you, but I've been hurt. I'm scared. We grown.
Yeah.
You had relationships before. The cost for being in a relationship is getting hurt. That's the cost.
Yeah.
The cost for living is dying, right? So the cost for being in a relationship, you're gonna get. So if somebody is hurt, scared, apprehensive about moving forward, okay, this is what you do. I always tell people, set the clock. Right? Set the clock. Right? Don't tell them this one. No, excuse me. You could or you can't. You can do this either way. However you want to do this. Set that clock and you watch what they do.
That's right.
For themselves to get themselves out of that mindset. It is not your responsibility to take a wounded man, a wounded woman, and heal him in that single space. Now, when you're married, it's a little different, right? It's a little bit more of a commitment there, right? But instead, they're hurt, and you're just gonna nurture them. And I'm gonna say, ladies, you're gonna nurture him out of his insecurity and all. What is he doing by himself? It's not your responsibility to fix somebody. AKA nurture is fix.
Yeah.
They're synonymous sometimes with certain people.
Yeah. No, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, so just be cautious. He could be a man with potential, right? But watch him take his own potential to the next level. And then this is what you're supposed to do. Sprinkle.
And let me go back. Lady Val says lovingly push him.
Yeah.
Sprinkle, like you
said. There you go. That's what I'm saying.
You give the support, but when you see him move, again, we are nurturers. And sometimes it can be to our detriment. If we are not healed, if we don't know who we are, there's a difference between, what did you say, telling him what to do and supporting him.
Yeah.
Actions. It all goes back to actions. Is he or she putting in the work? Brothers, is she putting in the work? Or is she sitting around the house shopping all day or whatever's going on? Now, Elam, we need you to give us final comments. Good conversation, people. We will be having another one. You know, Dr. Don, I love Love Lounge. Love Lounge. I've been blessed. God is definitely in the place. Give us your information. Give us your contact information, Elam. And final words.
Well, first of all, Dr. Don, you know we can go another hour on this or whatever. So I really appreciate you just even for having me on this platform. Of course, always have so much fun. I actually I probably cut 20 minutes extra of talking out of this because there was so many other places that I wanted to take this. So hopefully we can revisit in the future or whatever. Because
Yes.
I mean, the goal here is that, I mean, my mantra is this: in order for us to improve when things happen in these streets, we want to say, you know, we need to stick together a little bit more. We need to do this, we need to do that. And then we might do a march here and there, and then we go back home and we sit down, right? But I'm blessed with the opportunity of being able to take a talent that was given to me by God and expressing it this evening. The only thing that you saw this evening is the execution of what happens when the Holy Spirit walks into somebody who's walking inside of their purpose. That's the only thing that happened. Half of the things I said tonight, I don't even know what it was. But you know what? I'm operating inside of the space that God has placed me inside of.
Right.
And so I'm thankful that you're able to, you know, even have platforms like this where we can just, you know, come together. Even some of the comments and the questions that were made today, I hope and I believe that one person was touched by it.
I believe they were.
Forward.
I believe they were.
And so if you want to follow me at Elam B King on all platforms, YouTube, it's Understanding a Man. And so, of course, my most recent book is Understanding a Man, Memoirs from a Father to a Son. So this is actually a combination of not only words, but QR codes as well.
Great.
You see that right there? So you will not only be able to read the information, but also, you know, there's some videos as well. So if you know a young man between 13 and 30, you have 24 men of different walks of life giving feedback about 14 different chapters of different things that us as the young men that we wish we had known then, what we know now. So sharing that information here. So
I love it. I love it. Elam B King. The B stands for breaking it down like nobody else.
I like that.
Business. You gotta think of a business. He's giving you the business part of marriage. Brothers and sisters, thank you to those who are listening online through the app. Don't go anywhere. The Dr. Dawn is here till 10 o'clock. You know how we do. We're going to end this show in prayer. My 5 minutes of favor segment is coming up. Elam B. King, keep doing what you're doing. Keep walking in purpose. Brother, bless you, bless you, bless you.
Thank you.
We'll be back again.
Absolutely.
God bless you.
Appreciate you. Thank you so much.
God bless.